Liberty Blue Jays. I'd like to open it up for questions. Yes?
So after the disappointment of last week's loss, you must have felt good about the way your team responded.
We did. We felt well during practice last week that our kids were bouncing back like we were hoping they would after that tough loss to Ray Peck. And they practiced well all week, and it showed on Friday night with us having a good game.
Did you expect to put up as many points as you did?
No, we really didn't expect to put up that many. And I think some of it helped that we had 2 defensive touchdowns. We had one. Matthew Zombo had a fumble recovery that he took back 70 yards. Then we also had a block punt for a touchdown toward the end of the football game. So those are, we weren't counting on those, or, really we're a run-first football team, and we always have been, and it's going to be, high-scoring games or something that may not happen very often, but this time it did end up, we're able to get 52 points on the board, and things kind of worked our way that night. Yes?
Looking forward to next week, what do you think the keys are going to be to winning that game?
Well, this upcoming, we play Thursday night against Lee Summit, and they're another team that's 2-1. I have, in 2 of their games put up an awful lot of points. So it's, 40, 50 points a game, and they're a very explosive offense that returned a lot from last year. And they have a sophomore quarterback who just looks outstanding on film. He throws the ball well, runs the ball well. He was a starter on their basketball team as a freshman last year. And you can just tell every game that you watch him, he gets more and more comfortable with their offense and distributing the ball to their playmakers. So they're going to be a big challenge for us this Thursday night. Yes?
With the successful rushing game against Illinois, what formation changes did you make?
We did do some formation changes going into that game, and looking at our squad, we have some really good linemen, and we have some good depth in those positions. And we took, one easy noticeable change. We went to a double tight formation with Colton Schindler at one tight end, and then take Jacob Francis, who was an all-state guard last year, and moved him to the other tight end. We were able to do this with Alfonso Estrada, who came in and played guard in those formations, but it allowed us to move Jacob around and use him as kind of a not a fullback in the sense of rushing the ball, but as a blocker, and he does a great job. He's a very athletic kid for being 6'4", 270. He can move around really well. And we did that as just one of our change-ups that we made with that. We also utilized a formation that we use quite a bit that's unbalanced, and then use Matthew Zombo in a quarterback position during that formation for a few different snaps. And just things, we do this, every week we look at things and look where we have advantages and what can we do to take advantage of them. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But those are just 2 of the adjustments we made last week. Yes?
Who do you think some key players were in this last one?
Well, when you look at it, I was really proud. If you look at the offensive side of the ball, because we rushed for almost 500 yards, and that starts up front with our offensive line, and they blocked really well and sustained their blocks to the whistle. I was proud of our running backs. Matthew had 230 yards, David Graves had 160, and then in the fourth quarter, we had sophomore Devin Bryant came in and got us some big yards and really ran the ball hard, and I was pleased with all of them. Nick Palmerine's been a big part of that in terms of his blocking too from his fullback position, and he did a great job sustaining blocks, getting good placement where he's supposed to be to help that out. So offensively, those are some of our key players with that. And then, you look at defensively, we had, we forced 3 turnovers from them, 3 fumble recoveries, caused fumbles and then recoveries. Devin Houston was in on 2 of those. He's flying around to the football. And then Alex Jimenez had an interception late in the game. So we were able to come away +4 in the turnover margin. That's one of our team goals this year, is to win the turnover margin, not every game but the season, because we haven't done well in that the last few years. And that was something that really stood out with, and that comes from all 11 guys on defense flying to the football, pursuit of the football. We've been doing that in practice, and it's carrying over into games. Yes?
After putting up about 400 rushing yards, do you want to spread out the ball, or do you want to keep going down?
We're working as a staff, to look. We have to take what's given to us in the football game, but we know we need to be. We like to be more of a balanced offense and be able, to do complete passes off of that. And that's something we're continually working on and trying to improve on, because we know that's going to make us better as a football team, especially down the road. As every opponent has more game film and more ways that they can prepare for us. So we are striving to become a more balanced football team offensively. Yes.
What would be your central message preparing for Lee Summit?
Well, when we look at Lee Summit, and since we have a Thursday night game, we came in and practiced on Sunday, so we were able to have the kids in there and get them started Sunday, and we had practice Monday. So we have 2 of our practices in, and we're looking at defensively. They're maybe a pass first, run second team, and you say that, and then you look at Park Hill. They had a whole, they really rushed the ball well against Park Hill last week and scoring 48 points. So, and I think the biggest thing with them is us be sound defensively, be able to contain them, and they do a lot of misdirections, motions, things to try to get your eyes off what you're supposed to, and we're really working with our kids in terms of being disciplined football players defensively. Offensively, very athletic defense that we're facing. They blitz a lot, line up differently, and just having our guys play within their game, and block their rules and find the guys and be physical like they have been in the past. Yes. Well, I'm hoping it helps. Because last week we kind of had the same thing where we came off a really disappointing loss with that, and I think it's anytime as a coach you're working on those ups and downs within your team and trying to keep kids from getting complacent. And I haven't had that feeling this week. And sometimes after bouncing back after a loss and having a big win like that, and really we haven't had time to be complacent because we got one day off and been right back into this game. And I think our kids understand this is a league game and a district game, and it's against a team that's 2-1 just like we are, and so it's a big game for our program. I'm hoping that plays into them understanding that we have to keep doing what we're doing and have the same type practices. And I've been pleased with what we've seen so far this week with that. Yes.
You've been kind of praising Lee Summit's quarterback. So defensively, what are you planning on doing trying to stop him?
Well, when you look at defensively, we'll keep our same scheme intact with that. We know we're going to have to put pressure on him. Not let him sit back and throw. He's also a very good scrambler, so also contain him with that. He's just a good athlete, and it's one of those you see. I think he's the best quarterback that we've faced so far in terms of making plays. And we know that we're going to have to put pressure on him, not give him a long time to sit back and pick us apart. We're going to need to get from our front seven, get some heat on him and make him check down to his reads. Yes? Yes, that was kind of a neat thing the other night that with our new playoff system where you get points for winning by more than 13 in your district standings, it's very the times we've had in the past where you can sub people in toward the end of the game are kind of few and far between. We were up by enough. We subbed in our second team offense and defense for much of the fourth quarter, which was a great thing. And the neat thing was they went in and played really well. And those kids work hard all year, and it's great that they got in there and be in a game. We had some guys really step up and make some big plays. Our Lee Summit North kept their offense on the field to punt with, so we had our defense out there, and Vic Bissonette, a senior, blocked a punt and then was recovered by Justin Ryan in the end zone for a touchdown. Just a great play for them. We also had toward the end of the game, a touchdown pass when we had 4th and 6 that was converted on. That was real pleased that we were able to, we had a penalty right before that, moved us back to 4th and 6, and we were able to convert on that part. So it was great to get those in. Our younger kids have worked hard all year. Last night had a big 42-6 win over Lee Summit North in JV. Josh Watson, a freshman who's playing up with our JV, had 4 touchdowns in that game last night, so I was excited for him. And then today our sophomores head over to Staley, and we play at Staley on a rare Tuesday game that we had moved. Usually sophomores play on Thursday, we play on Tuesday this week. So it's just an exciting time for our program. All right, yes?
Do you have any injuries or
we've had some injuries, and then we have some kids that are bounced back now. But we have, as of right now, just some kids that are some prolonged injuries that came from the summer that we're planning on getting back here soon. But as far as like our starters right now, we're intact. We're been real lucky with that. Just some nicks and bruises and things like that. On David Graves started a year with a bad ankle, and he's back in full force this week. He ran really well, and we feel like he's getting back into form where he was before. So we've been real fortunate on the injury front. Yes?
Do you, in a regular formation set, do you rather have David Graves on the ball or Matthew Sauer?
Well, we started off this year, in most of our sets they rotate, and they are very contrasting run styles, whereas David's very straight ahead, and I give him a hard time all the time. He'd rather go through a person than around them. And Matthew works more with cuts and speed. There's obviously some plays that David runs better and some that Matthew runs better within our playbook and our scheme. And we also have some sets where they're both in the game, where I think can put some stress on defenses depending on where they're at and how well we're able to utilize them with that. So they both definitely have their strengths, and we're just trying to find ways that we can use them as we keep going. Yes?
I know it's still a while away, but what are you expecting as far as the playoffs?
Well, the neat thing this year in Missouri changing their playoffs, we have Week 10 is the playoffs, and that's for every team in Missouri, and we're seeded this year, and this is the first year this has ever happened. On the Misha website, it has our districts, and every week they release the standings based on points. Points from wins and losses, your wins and losses and margin of victory for us. Since we're a Class 6 school, we don't get any points for playing up because there's nobody to play up to. And so those are how they're calculated. Each week we post them downstairs. Right now in our 8-team district, we're at second, or just 3 games into it right now, but we're also only just a couple points away from being 5th. So they really haven't spread out too much right now. But we do know that Week 10, that we'll play one of those 8 teams or one of those other 7 teams. Whether it's home or away, it depends on where we're seated in there. So we're stressing to our kids that every week counts in there with that and plays a big role into who we may play Week 10. Yes?
Looking a little further ahead, Blue Springs is looking pretty good. Have you guys circled them on the calendar?
With Blue Springs, yes, they're ranked #1 in the city, and I believe the state. If they're not, they very well should be. We know that we have them next week, and since we play a Thursday night game, we know that we're going to have the opportunity to go watch them on Friday night live. But that's really as much as we've looked at them. We have really just right now working on Lee Summit, and we know we're going to get 1 extra day to prepare for them the following week, just by the way our schedule lays out. Yes. All right. Thank you for coming in today, and have a great week.
The weekly Coaches News Conference on KLPS TV is brought to you by Hawthorne Bank, a proud sponsor of Liberty School District. At Hawthorne Bank, we understand the importance of strong community in a strong school district. We also understand the importance of strong financial future for our school district's families and for our local businesses. Hawthorne Bank, with you every step. And by Jackson Hewitt. For all your tax needs, personal or business, rely on tax professionals at Jackson Hewitt and Liberty, a full-service tax preparation professional. Jackson Hewitt.